so kuntao is an extension of Filipino martial arts. Our kuntao is specifically catered towards a little bit more of a Shotokan influence. There's so many different ways or interpretations of kuntao that might look completely different. And so because there's a lot of Shotokan influence in ours, we simply call it the karate program at the academy. Now, what we're going to be looking at is how we set up the strike. So I'm here with my partner, Sam. And when we set up the strike, there's two ways that we do this. It's either through a physical stimulus, so by touch, or it's through a visual stimulus, which is through sight. Okay, we're just going to work with our upper body at this moment. And so ideally what happens, whether we're point sparring, continuous sparring, or self-defense, there's going to be some sort of ready position or fighting stance as we call it. Okay, and whether the hands are up nice and tight or the hands are stretched out like this, really doesn't matter. What I'm trying to do is bait out his lead hand. And I'm going to do that by throwing my checking hand out, which is my lead hand as well. When I do this, Sam doesn't know if I'm going to punch him or he doesn't know if I'm going to poke his eye. So his natural reaction, if I sell it correctly, is to stretch out his hand. Okay, so I'm in my stance here. I shoot the hand out and we get into what's called a reference point. My physical stimulus, I'm going to grab this hand down. I'm going to go over the top and do what's called a diving punch. Okay, so I'm getting the attention away so that my punch can enter without any resistance, or at least not as much as I'd expect. Okay. At the same time, I can also do what's called a back fist. It's a very common sparring move. So I bait, I grab it down, and then I'm going to hit with the back of my fist. Okay, very quick to the point, very, very effective when it comes to sparring. Also with a physical stimulus, what I can do is I can pull. So this motion right here is a crash. I'm getting the physical stimulus to drop here. Feel the resistance. Okay, as well as trap it down so I can score with whatever hand I'm going to use. When I pull, I'm going to attack the side of his body here. So when I bait this out here, I'm going to pull to hopefully turn his body. Okay, this is a very, very narrow line. It's very hard for him to counter. So I'm going to punch to the side of his body. Okay, or I'm going to use that to set up my back fist over top. Okay, so that one occurs a little bit quicker. If we go from the top, I'm over here. I bait, I crash in, I kind of consume his space. Okay, if I'm going to pull, I just use the swaying motion to open up my attack. Always important when I back out, I extend my hand so that he can't consume my space back. Okay, so we call this the human ruler. It helps me gauge my distance. It also helps me understand how far I am in relation to my target, whether it be the head, side of the body, or the chest. Okay, the second way that we can approach this is through a visual stimulus. So again, when we talked about selling the point, if I'm selling this here, it starts off as visual and then turns into physical. When I'm maintaining the visual stimulus, I want to kind of fake and make sure that he feels threatened. Sam doesn't know what I'm doing, he doesn't know my game plan, and so if he truly cares about defending himself, if I deliver it correctly, he's going to react. So the first one is a high visual stimulus. I'm going to take my lead hand, I'm going to come up as if I'm giving a back fist, or I'm just reaching on top of his head. Sam and I are around the same height. So if I just go straight, I may not get the stimulus that I'm looking for. Okay? I want his hand to go nice and high so that I can expose this area of his body. So I'm going to elevate my body and really sell it, come up, drop it down, mid-level, punch, and out. Okay? So it kind of looks like this in real time when I'm over here. I go up, and right away, I explode in and out. Okay, so a very common principle when it comes to karate, taekwondo, that in and out principle is very quick, point style oriented, but it can be applied in different ways. Okay, the last one that we can do is off of our fighting stance here. We do a low line visual stimulus. So I'm going to drop. Okay, I'm going to go for his knees. A really good one is if I kind of go for the groin area, like I'm going to do a cheap shot like this. I want that hand to be exposed, and then I come over top. The only dangerous part here is this hand is preoccupied, so this might be able to crash in with me at the same time. So when it comes to physical stimuluses, it's very hard for him to counter because I'm physically holding him in place. I'm physically distracting him to score my point. When it comes to visual, I have to be a lot more quicker because it's more of an in and out. I fake, expose it for X amount of seconds, capitalize, and I'm out. And whether I decide to continue forward, continue backwards, that depends on the application. Point sparring, continuous sparring, self-defense, you name it. And so we don't normally do this sort of checking hand type of application when it comes to self-defense, but the attributes, the timing that come behind that, like I said, doesn't matter what type of martial artist you are, in terms of what kind of disciplines you practice. The whole thing here is that we're getting the attention away because as human beings, we try to protect our most valuable assets, our eyes, for men, their groin, so on and so forth, right? So what I'm trying to do is learn how to tap into the kind of the thought process of my partner, take advantage of that so that I can score the point. In and out for point sparring, done. Okay, but those attributes can definitely help you in the self-defense world. It can definitely help you as well as when you train with weapons. That split second is all you need to capitalize. And a lot of what the basis is, it's timing, distance, and accuracy. Okay, timing to go in and out, distance between my partner and myself, or my opponent and myself, and the accuracy of my strike. Where exactly am I hitting? I need to be a marksman. The same way I am with my stick, this is the same way I'm going to be with my punches and my kicks. So, setting up the strikes, very simple. You could play on it for as long as you want to. You can expand it as much as you want to as well. And eventually you just keep layering and layering and layering. It's quick to the point, very, very effective. And that's pretty much what we start off with when we introduce sparring at the academy. So that is our first video on the Kuntao mini-series that we're about to deliver on Union Martial Arts. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, catch you guys then.